Okay, this is just a disclaimer. I should have uploaded the regular season predictions, and this is just a continuation of that, just predicting the entire playoffs. So yeah, hope you have fun watching. All right, so let's get into the playoffs. So here you can see the Tennessee Titans going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we got Buffalo Bills going against the Patriots, divisional game. And then we got the Ravens going against the number 7 Steelers. So with the new playoff format, there are 7 teams in the playoffs. So Las Vegas is the 7th, the last. And then the Rams are the 2nd, the Ravens are the 2nd. Yeah. So now they're on the screen. It should say the people who win, who are selected. You know, I don't, I don't get the Ravens doubters. Just because the Chiefs beat them by a little bit more than last year doesn't mean I don't. I still think the Ravens are probably the second best team in the AFC. Not by much. The AFC isn't great. Like, I don't believe in the Bills too much, but like obviously it's pretty close. Like there's the Chiefs, and then you got the Ravens, and I think the Bills Bills are in about the same spot, and then the Pittsburgh, of course, but they got number 5 because they So just I had Pittsburgh beat Tennessee just as a better team. Doesn't matter if they didn't quite win the division. They lost the division to, in my opinion, the second best team in the AFC. And I definitely could see Buffalo also. But Buffalo or even the Patriots or the being number 2 in the AFC. But just the Ravens have a really easy schedule 2 years in a row for some reason. And so, and now in the playoffs, they have a pretty easy schedule. But yeah, so the Pittsburgh are just a better team than the Steelers. I know, Ryan Tannehill looks, like a clutch quarterback, like, already. So, and Big Ben is just clutch, and they have a better defense. And I just think and the front 7 could probably stop Derrick Henry. So yeah, Steelers beat the Titans. Now we got the Buffalo Bills versus the Patriots. So I just think the Bills look great already, and the Patriots look like they could definitely next year. So N'Keal Harry being a bust, even the like if he had ended up being really good, then they would be completely different. But I'm thinking, Bill Belichick will pick up some people, pick up some wide receivers and some pass rushers, middle linebackers, and a tight end. And then next year I could 100% see them. Unfortunately, the Patriots, probably going like 13-3 next year. But Buffalo just looks better. And Cam Newton, no offense, but he's kind of overrated. Like, like it's a very, I understand it. A very easy thing to do is base everything off, like one off a primetime game because that's like the only time you watch them, I'm guessing. But like the Seahawks have a terrible defense. Like come on, like so yeah. Buffalo beats the Patriots. Better. Buffalo has a better defense. Buffalo has a better offense. There we go. Okay. Now we got a pretty obvious one. Baltimore beating Raiders. Sorry, Las Vegas. I don't even see you with this team. I don't think anything's gonna happen. You need a better quarterback, in my opinion. So, I you should have drafted someone by now, but you didn't. So yeah, you lose to the Ravens. All right, now to the NFC first round. All right, so first we got Dallas versus 49ers, right? Very weird, interesting game, like the Niners, Dallas. Remember, I had them making it with 8-8, and I talked about how maybe the worst playoff team of all time. So you can probably expect who I picked, and I'm a Niners fan. But so we got Seattle versus New Orleans. New Orleans. I would normally, if they were basically any other team, I'd probably say there's like a sleeper chance of making a wild card Super Bowl, because like you never know, they could like, because they're bad at the beginning of the season, but then they can start winning a bunch of games and then doing well in the playoffs. But New Orleans chokes the last 5 years in the playoffs, like, and it's not even been, and Drew Brees definitely holds them back a bit. So, and then Tampa Bay versus the Bears. Now this one's gonna surprise you guys. Duh. Now you guys can see it. Okay. I know you guys are gonna be really surprised by the bottom one, but first we'll start with SF versus Dallas. Obviously, I mean I have the Niners are going 11-5 and Dallas going 8-8. And actually 49ers and the Cowboys play late in the season, and come on. We're got in second 8-8 team. The Niners already beat them in my predictions. Niners win, not a hard playoff game at all. I just see like I get the Cowboys have a pretty great offense, but like come on, like basically in general you pick the better defense with the top. You pick the I'm gonna say Niners top 5 defense and the top 10-ish offense more than the top 5 offense and then like the bottom 10 defense. That's what unless it's like the Seahawks or when the Chiefs had a trash defense, they would fit into that category. And then we got the Seahawks. Saints choke every year. I don't like seriously, they're done. This was their last year and they're done. Sorry. I don't know. Russell Wilson, great in the playoffs. And then maybe a hot take. I'm gonna say it right here. Bears, I'm going to say the Bears have a higher chance of making the Super Bowl than the Buccaneers, the Saints, the 49ers, the Cowboys. It's Nick Foles, like, we know what happens. And I forgot to say, the byes, it doesn't say the byes there. So in the byes are the Packers and the Chiefs, to be clear. So, okay, here's what I think. Tampa Bay, I definitely see them as a team that will do amazing in the regular season. And I know they have Tom Brady. Tom Brady was ass last year in the playoffs. And not only that, going to season, I was thinking, okay, Tampa Bay, people are overrating them. Tom Brady's not even that good. I'll give them 11-5. Now I look at their schedule and look at how great their defense is. And I'm thinking, wow, they could easily go like 13-3, and I think they do. Pretty easy schedule, not easy, but somewhat. And Tampa Bay, great defense, and the offense is probably gonna be damn good by then. And it's just Nick Foles. I mean, he already showed some of the magic. This makes me think of like a couple of years ago, Nick Foles versus on the Eagles, second year that Carson Wentz has gotten injured. Nick Foles goes against the Bears, 12-4 Bears, and he plays ass until he gets a final drive touchdown, which is crazy. And then, of course, the Bears winning the field goal is a whole different thing. But like, just the clutchness and he's so good in the playoffs. He's done it 2 times before. He's magical. I just see it happening. And the Bears, top 5 defense. The Buccaneers probably top 5 also this year. But, it's just the magic, okay? So, yeah, that's the first round of the playoffs. Okay, so I just realized how long this video is getting, so I'm gonna go a little bit quicker. But, I'm not gonna just edit it down to, like, 15 minutes. That'll take way too long. So, I'm just gonna go quicker. So, here we got Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens, B versus B. And then Pittsburgh versus Kansas City. So right now, it should go to the thing where I selected them. So yeah, I mean, sorry Buffalo, but Josh Allen has only been bad in the playoffs. So, and like your defense, I would say the Buffalo Bills defense is right around where the Ravens are probably. But then the offense is where it's like, okay, well the Bills so far have a great offense, but do I trust them? Do I trust them? No, definitely not. I mean, I'm thinking the reason they beat the Patriots is because their defense shuts down Cam Newton and the offense. But especially with the great corners and safeties. So yeah, Baltimore should take the cake. Lamar, 2 playoff game wins in a row. I mean, I guess the first one's against the Raiders, but still, good job. I'd say Lamar has a good game, but definitely just the team, I think, is just better than the Bills. So, just think about it. Like, do you see the Bills in the AFC Championship? Like Josh Allen, do you see him as a clutch kind of guy? Not yet. Definitely, maybe even next year. I don't know about yet. But so then we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I just thought, Kansas City, they're unbeatable at this point. They're insane. They have now they seem to have a top 10, top 8 defense, and then the offense is probably the best in the playoffs, and then the Steelers, I give them maybe top 12 offense ish, and then the defense top 3. But I don't, get defense win championships means nothing when you're going against the Chiefs. I mean, ask the Niners. Okay, now let's go to the NFC. Okay, so now we got the very interesting Seahawks versus 49ers. So when I did my prediction, I basically had the Seahawks winning the mid-season game and the Niners winning in Week 17, which is actually exactly what happened last year. But if we're talking in this particular year, who would win the playoffs? Maybe the best offense in the league with the best quarterback, with the bottom 10 defense versus borderline top, maybe top 15 Jimmy Garoppolo with a top. This year I'm thinking top 8 defense for the Niners. I'm gonna take the offense, the number one offense in this situation. It's an offensive league now. The defense win championship doesn't matter in every scenario, as I said with the Chiefs. So yeah, and then we got the Bears going against the Packers. Bears is the Nick Foles magic ends. Sorry, Packers have a better team. All right. Okay, so now on to what the NBA calls the semifinals, or as we call, a more exciting way to put it, the AFC Championship, Chiefs versus Ravens. Okay, so the question is, can Baltimore beat the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs have already beat them almost every time with Lamar Jackson, can they bring their first Super Bowl to Baltimore since 2012? Or can the Chiefs win this and possibly go 2 in a row? So, it will go up on the screen in 3, 2, 1. Sorry, Baltimore. It is what it is. I don't even think I have to go into depth. It's kind of obvious. Come on. The Chiefs beat them the last 3 times or something. With Lamar Jackson has been with the Ravens, has started on the Ravens for the past 3 years, and guess what? And I'm pretty sure in each of those 3 years they've lost to Patrick Mahomes. So, it is what it is. I mean, the Chiefs the Chiefs, they have the number one playoff offense. And then they seem to have the best playoff defense last year. I don't know where that came from, but they did. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, Ravens, I mean, I'm not going to say they're pretenders because they did beat the Bills, but to be honest, they're kind of pretenders. Because I just feel like the only reason they beat the Bills, for in my opinion, is it'll be a clutch game and a last second kind of game, and then Josh Allen doesn't pull it out. But I just think the Ravens, they're low key like pretenders, kind of like the Packers last year. Like the Packers, they had no right to be in the NFC Championship. They had the easiest schedule in the NFC of any. They had the easiest schedule of any playoff team. Not only that, but like they managed to go 13-3 somehow. I don't even know how. As I sometimes say, the Packers were a 13-3 team that actually is a 9-7 team. So, and the Ravens aren't exactly like that, but easy schedule for the Ravens. Fortunately, it ends there. All right, now on to the NFC Championship. All right, we got a very interesting NFC Championship here with the Seahawks and the Packers. So first of all, just to preview a little bit, the Seahawks beat the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional games, and then before that, they beat the Saints, right? And then the Packers, they had a bye. So far they've only beaten their divisional rival, the Bears. So, very interesting. So my kind of thinking was the Packers have a complete team. They have a top 10 defense, top 10 offense, top 10 throwing, top 10 running, complete team. The Seahawks might, fine, they have a top 3 offense, but they have no defense. I could definitely see the Packers running away from this one. And, I don't think it will come to like an Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson 1v1, because that just doesn't happen usually. It's just going to be if the Packers can be good enough, and I think they will be. So, let's see. I kind of gave it away, but who do I think is going to win? The Packers, obviously. Good job, Packers. You lost an NFC Championship to the Falcons, then in 2019, you lost an NFC Championship to the 49ers, and now a year later, you are going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Chiefs are going for 2 in a row. Let's just see. All right, on to the Super Bowl. We got a very interesting matchup. Chiefs versus Packers. So, I'm going to go ahead and say it. You're probably looking at it, and you see, okay, number one. Jason? Really? You're just going to pick whoever gets the bye? That's so lazy. Yeah. It's the first year in this format. And generally every year, the teams with the bye teams, not even generally, almost always, I want to say like 80%, the bye team makes a Super Bowl, maybe even more than that. Like the last team was the Giants in 2011, and then before that it was the Packers, and then before that was the Giants. But then it just doesn't happen a lot, and that was like 10 years ago. It hasn't happened since. So it's crazy how it never happens. I'm thinking first year with this new playoff format, I'm going to go ahead and say a bye team will win, basically no matter what. But I think in the future, people are going to have to adjust, and 100% some wildcard teams are going to win. I mean, do we call it wildcard anymore? I don't know what we call it now. But yeah, so just looking at this, I'm so high on the Chiefs. The Chiefs, it's hard to say. So I think the Chiefs have a more complete offense, and the Packers have more complete defense. But I think in general, like if we're looking at the roster standpoint, the Packers probably have in general a better roster. But anyway, it doesn't, like the Chiefs have a top O-line, and then they have Mahomes and great receivers, or like not even great, like they have Tyreek and then like nothing. I mean, they got Travis Kelce, of course, but We're gonna have to see when he retires, but just looking in, I don't know if it was a thing. Just looking in, the Chiefs are really good, and they have Mahomes. But then the Packers have Aaron Rodgers going for a second Super Bowl, which guaranteed, basically, if you win second Super Bowl, people are gonna be saying it's probably better than Peyton Manning. I mean, wow, it's crazy how it works like that. But yeah. So it's Mahomes, it's Andy Reid. I know 2 in a row doesn't happen much, but this seems one of those special teams. So the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Not very exciting how I'm saying it. It's not. I don't think it's a good thing in any way. Now, what I pray, either the Bills are better than I think, or just as, to be honest, if it's anyone in the entire AFC, I just hope it's not the Chiefs and it's not the Patriots. Anyone else, I would be much happier. And I'm happy for Aaron Rodgers. I have a close friend that's a Packers fan, and I know he got let down last year. I did more, but whatever. Let's get the NFC a win for once. We haven't had one in 2 years, but that's not that long. So yeah, Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, Mahomes 2 Super Bowl rings. He's already on his way to being the best quarterback of all time. So, thanks for watching. Niner gang, bang bang, Niner gang. The playoffs. The playoffs. If you look to your screen, you see what I picked for every single playoff game this year. Starting with the wildcard teams, then going all the way to the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. I can guarantee this is not exactly what will happen during the actual season because it is a basically impossible thing to predict. See ya, guys.